Boom! There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to rock and roll. Have you ever wanted to be in the beauty industry? You know, take care of some hair, some makeup, make people feel good about themselves. Well, if you ever did, then this episode is definitely for you because we got a guest that's right up your alley. So let's get this one going. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life. Prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Boss! All right, ladies and gents, on today's episode, we're going to talk about the power of reinvention and the importance of having the right training to achieve your dreams. Our guest, who has been a leader in the beauty industry for over 12 years, will share her story on how she founded this school and with the goal of transforming lives through knowledge and how it has evolved to offer students more opportunities to enter a new career, improve their skills, and achieve their professional dreams. So whether you're just starting out or looking for a change, it's always possible to reinvent yourself, and we're here to support and guide you on that journey. So let's welcome to the show, Miss Flavia Leal. All right, Flavia, I forgot to tell you, because you're on a cell phone, you don't get to see the little movie clips we throw in between the set. But that's okay. So the party is on. We're ready to rock and roll. We got you here on the show, ready to tell us your story. So you got into this business 12 years ago. Can you tell me what it was like just trying to break into this industry?
Well, it happened to me. I didn't plan on being on this field in beauty. I love construction. I worked with construction before. I was flipping my house at the time when my sister invited me to go to a school to register for aesthetics. She was going to register for cosmetology, and the plan was to open a salon together. So I did it all, and she went to take a photography class, and she became a photographer. So while I was in school, she knew that I loved beauty, and I was teaching makeup on the side because I love people. I went to school for education back when I was 17, and I entered college. And I didn't finish college, but I always loved education, and I always took education classes, and I loved to be around people, near people, teaching people, telling people that they could do whatever they dreamed of, whatever they wanted to do. I was that kind of person. So I was teaching makeup on the side to individual or to small groups. And while I was in school, I found out that they could not do makeup in Massachusetts if they did not have a license. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it either. And so I went to get my educator's license as well. And because all these people were already working with makeup, I told them to go take a class where I was taking the class, but they were rejected by the school because some of them had not completed high school, or they couldn't find the high school diploma, or they didn't speak English well. For many reasons, none of them were able to enter school. So that was when I decided to open my own school for the minority, for these people who had the desire to grow, to do what they loved, but they couldn't just because they were not good enough for it. So I decided to open a small school. I never thought that I was going to get so big. I never dreamed of it. I never thought that people would come from other states, that I would end up having 4 schools in 2 different states, and that I would be offering the I-20 for people to come from other countries to take classes at my school. I never dreamed of it. I never thought it was going to get that big. But I thought of helping these people to get the license so they could work. And if I didn't do that at that time, they would have no other way to become licensed and to do what they loved. So that was when I decided to open a small school, call off all of them, have them enroll. The program was 2,500. The first program that I offered was very, very, very inexpensive, just so they could get going. And what happened was the school was so successful since day one that I didn't stop growing. So the year after, I went to take classes in Paris, and I was invited to teach a class in Paris as well. I wanted to learn more about makeup. And when I came back, I launched my own makeup line. Then in the same year, I opened the manicuring school. Then in 2013, I purchased a building, a commercial building with a school in it. And then we could offer the cosmetology classes as well. And we were growing. The little school, the little a place where we had the first school got too small. So we moved to a bigger location, and then we opened another school in Orlando, and now the third school in Massachusetts. So we have taught over 10,000 students already in the past 12 years.
That's nice.
Yes, and I just love what we have done because the way that this all started was not like usually businesses start. Usually people have a business plan, they go to the bank, they get a loan, and they start. I was bankrupted at the time, just coming back from a very, very tough depression. I lost both of my parents at that time, like
Wow.
months prior. And I was trying to recover myself from everything I went through. So, because I was so upset with the situation that I saw those women going through, and I knew how they were feeling, I knew what, being rejected meant. So I always went to the classrooms and told our students everything that they needed to know in regards of their self-esteem, that I always made sure that they knew this, that they knew that they can be anything that they want to. They can become whatever they believe that they can become. And so then I didn't plan on this. I didn't write this out. I didn't think of any of this. But after a few years, these people started to come back and tell me that they were going through this and that and that. And because of what I told them, their lives had changed. So there are 12 years. It has been over a decade that I've been doing
Oh
this.
yeah.
So yeah, so what I'm getting from these people that have taken our classes, that have heard what I told them, um, people that have opened the beauty salons and spas and they're so successful, people that just learned how to take care of themselves, people that have saved their marriages because they learned that it is important that a woman takes care of herself. So many of these women were thinking like, you know what, I don't have to color my hair, to do my roots, to do my eyebrows, to put makeup on for men to love me. Of course that's not the case, But people do have to take care of themselves. That will make themselves feel great about it. It will make it easier for them to get everything, jobs, compliments. You know what a woman
Yeah.
would like to get a compliment. They will go out in a grocery store and they will hear other people saying, "Wow, I love your hair. Wow, your skin looks so beautiful." And that make them feel so good about it that they keep doing it, you know.
Yes.
They keep
Yes.
doing it. So yeah, I have heard from these women that their marriages changed, that they got promoted on their jobs. I've heard so many things that I just kept going. I didn't look into the money because people who are, business owners know that there are no money when we just start. So I didn't look at it. I kept teaching my makeup classes on the side. I didn't teach at the school because I had to do everything else,
Hmm.
including construction. I did construction with my own hands so many times because I couldn't pay anyone to do it. And I started with no money, zero, no loans, no nothing. I started with these people's um, money. I worked with their money in the beginning. Those girls who wanted to enroll, they enrolled to the classes, and then I was able to purchase everything I had to purchase and do everything I had to do. And here I am, 12 years later. We have grown so much, and I have so many plans for this year and for the next few years that I I'm here sharing with all of your audience, and I'm so happy about it.
And what a story. I mean, sheesh, where do I start? You started off as a contractor. That's an industry where a lot of women don't get any respect in. You dominate there. You see a need for this beauty industry, mainly because, I mean, just like yourself, you probably had to deal with language barriers, cultural barriers, and you helped overcome that. And not only did you overcome it, you really just set the precedent for other people to come and also go walk that same path. That is already amazing in and of itself. What else did I catch over here? You started teaching in Paris. Like you literally were, you go to take a class and they're like, no, 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 you're so good at this class. You need to come here and teach us how to do it. I mean, that you launched the makeup line. How, when people look back and you're telling them, hey, when I started this, I was broke. I was completely bankrupt. And yet you're giving them that inspiration to move forward. You're literally changing their lives, showing them that, yes, you can do it too. And on top of that, you're giving women the confidence to make themselves feel so much better. I know my wife, for example, when she gets her nails done and she'll go out and she goes to pay and somebody tells her, oh, your nails look beautiful. It makes her light up. She gets so
Mhm.
excited because of that sort of stuff. And you're literally bringing that into the business model that you have here. What would you say is probably the most exciting thing about the beauty school to you that makes you, like, on cold days, on wet days, days where you don't feel like getting up, but this one thing gets you up every single day? What's that energy pump for you?
Changing people's lives, knowing that I've done something to make someone's day better. That uh, that makes me so happy. It was times when I had to make a choice in between purchase food for my house in the beginning, because when I say I was bankrupted, I was technically bankrupted. I had to file bankruptcy on a chapter 13 so I could keep my house. I lost everything else, but I needed to keep my house, the house I purchased to live in. And the first one, I did the flip on it, working with my own hands on it. So I had filed bankruptcy. So in the beginning, I didn't have one single credit card. I didn't get bank loans, people's loans. Nobody would believe me, believe that I was going to do what I did. And I did not even ask them, none of them offered, but I didn't even ask because I understand that they wouldn't believe that I was going to do what I did. And because I was doing it for that small group of girls, I I told them, I asked them to register to it, and that's how I started. So it was so tough sometimes because I have two kids. I was alone taking care of them at the time. And so many times I had to make a choice, either take care of the business or take care of myself and my house and things that I had to buy for the kids and for myself. And I choose to keep going. It was so many times when I thought, this is so hard. My kids are growing and I can't see them. I can't be with them. But it is a sacrifice. And when I thought of all these women that were so happy, they needed this, they needed me to keep going. So for so many times, I cried and I said, I'm not capable of doing this anymore. But that was what made me go out of bed and go fight for it, go make this happen. And I'm so fortunate that my two kids understand this very well. The other day, a few years ago, about 2 years ago, I asked my 14 years old, she was 12 at the time. I asked her, would you rather me to be home with you all the time, with a soccer mom, go to everything that everything that happens to your life in school and cook for you every day, or you want me to provide you things, a nice house, a car, my car. She always, that little one loves cars. I don't mind cars, but she was the one who always said, purchase that car. I think that car is so nice. And so I was always listening to her, and that made her so happy. The house she wanted to live in and everything she wanted to do, the vacations and everything. And I asked her, would you be happier if I was home, or you like the type of life that we live? And she stopped for a while and she looked, to the sky, and she thought a little bit. And I was so scared of the answer. Because if she said that she wanted me to be home, I would feel so, so bad. And I was so afraid she would say that. And and then she smiled and she said, I love to be the daughter of Flavia Leal. And I was so happy to hear that. So even all the difficulties that my kids had to go through made them stronger, made them to be proud of me. So that also is an experience that I share with these women, that it's not easy to just change the direction. They had their jobs, they had their lives, and all of a sudden they decide to take a cosmetology class, a year and a half back in school, learning something, getting a license, having to pass a state board exam, bringing books home and studying at night, things that I'm
Take for
42. I don't
granted,
want to
yeah.
do that anymore. I don't want to
Yeah.
have to take any tasks. I don't want that. So it's not easy. And most of the times they have to leave their kids at home and do this. And I have the experience, to tell them, why it's a sacrifice. When you go to a war, you you know, you'll be you go to fight. That's
Yeah,
life. That's
you got to give something up, right? There's
exactly.
certain things that you had to give up to attain what you have right now, right? Maybe,
It's
10 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, maybe at that point the struggle was a little more difficult to deal with because you're living in that moment, but you know what you're working towards at that point, right?
exactly.
You know what you're being able to afford for your kids and the new lifestyle that they're able to give. You're not broke and worrying about where the next paycheck's going to be anymore. You've already established that. Now, you talked about earlier that you have a lot of like depression, especially when you lost your parents. And I'd imagine when you're going through a business, there's always things that you don't know that happen in business, hiccups and problems that pan out. And you take those stories and you help your students relate, right? You can relate to them and show them, look, I was here. This is how I overcame it. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but this is what you can do in the future. When you talk to your students about those situations, um, do you still have them today, or was it more during those stressful times and it gives them an opportunity to move out of that, or is it just something that is kind of case by case with your students?
No, I visit the schools and I do a little speech in the classes. I do that many times a year. So they a lot of them go to my social media and try to talk to me through social media. But what I kept doing after finding out that they that helps them a lot, I started going to the schools and doing a speech in the classrooms. Throughout a year, I go to each class twice or three times every year during the time that you're taking the classes.
And that's also kind of cool now, especially that you got multiple locations. It's kind of like, well, I'm gonna go take a vacation to Florida this time. Well, I think I'm gonna go to Boston this time. Well, you get to travel a little bit and make it part of your work. And when you do sit in the classroom, you have this presentation, you talk to the students. What kind of feedback are you getting from them? Are they connecting with you? And then obviously they're going to social media and they're like, this is going on in my life. Help me.
Yeah, I've trained people at the school to identify that. And I've connected with agencies that take care of each situation. For instance, we have heard about domestic violence in the school, women that were going through this. We've heard about them going through, tough times when they couldn't put food on the table. So I always get connected with agencies that can help them, because there are so many cases that they need a higher level of help, and we always try to find the right uh, agency to take care of it. If it's just a matter of believing in themselves and going for what they want to, they will learn that at the school, because our staff is trained to pass that on to each one of our students. So when I go to the classrooms and I re, reinforce that, and I say that to them, that's what they get from the school. So let's say they want to open a business, I offer a consulting uh, appointments
Mm-hmm.
that they can purchase. They can have it from the school staff that works in that department, or they can have it from me. And I will dedicate a whole year or a whole month, depending on what they want. And I will help them, like hold their hands and work throughout the way with them until they have opened their businesses and everything. So, in most of the cases, this is what's interesting. In most of the cases, the feedback that I get from them is that they enrolled to a class and they didn't know that they didn't love themselves, before they took the class. They
Mm.
went there so they could have a license and start, have start working and making money. and they find out that they didn't take care of themselves well, that they didn't feel well about themselves, their bodies, their face, their hair, their nails, everything, and they learn how to treat themselves, and then they love it so much, and then when they go out and work, they learn that they can help other people to achieve the same thing, making money out of it. So the feedback that I get from them is that they get the best of everything. They they're so happy. That's what I hear from them so much. They're so happy. They didn't know that they could do this all. They didn't feel confident that they could change a career and still have the time to be successful. And that's the feedback that I get the most. Of course, we get these situations that are very sad and require a higher level of knowledge that we don't touch those, but we always make sure that these women, these people are taken care of, and we try to do it in a whole, in all the areas of their lives, starting from the inside, inside out, not just
Yeah.
covering the blemishes with the makeup. That's what most of the people do. Like when I had depression, I didn't want anybody to know that I was depressed, and so lots of people just cover, they the problems with something, and that's not what they should be doing, and we make sure that we tell them that.
So you're taking a different approach, and this is what I like about what you're doing here, which is to me so special. It's not just a beauty school, right? I mean, the way you're describing it is you're helping these women first get in the right mindset for themselves. You're then teaching them what they need to know to get a license, and beyond that, they have the opportunity to get their hand held to build not just a job, but a full-on business of their own. You're helping them go from I don't believe in myself to I take control of my entire life and I can do whatever I want, however I want. I mean, that's boss power right there. Girl power, totally 100%. We're running low on time, so I wanted to kind of go over what happens. How do people enroll and get these types of services from you? What's that process like, and how can people get started?
They can find all the information on our website, which is flavialeal.com. They can find it all over there, all of our locations, everything that we do at the schools. And to make it easier, they can find it all there. If they want to follow myself on the social media, it's Flavia Leal Beauty. That's my personal Instagram. And the school's Instagram is Flavia Leal Beauty School. They can find all the information in a website and on the social media.
Flavia, you have such an incredible story, and I wanted to personally thank you for coming on the show. You're literally changing lives out there, and I think that's one of the most empowering things that we have available to us, especially in this country, is to take on a challenge like this, even though we know it's not easy, even though we know it's going to be difficult, but that there are people like yourselves that are out there mentoring and being that resource that they need to take their life to a whole new level. I know I come from immigrant family, right? So my family came here. A lot of them didn't even have papers to be here. And over time, they were able to situate themselves, get their citizenship, start to build their lives for themselves. And that is something that is not easy. Without help, it is very difficult to get on your feet. And you're literally doing that for a lot of these people. So I wanted to say thank you very much for doing that. And one last thing before we head out, do you have any final thoughts, any last things you wanted to say before we close out the show today?
Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything. That's all. Don't let anybody, even yourself, never.
I love that. I love that. Ladies and gents, you got the power. It's literally inside of you. You might be scared, but courage is not absence of fear. It's knowing that there's fear there and still taking the steps necessary. And Flavia is a perfect example. Started in the construction industry. How many women do you know started in construction industry? Decided to go into beauty just on the side. And then all of a sudden realized, hey, I can help people do this. And look at what happened. 12 years later, she is blowing up multiple locations, not only giving you your license, which you need in order to operate. She's literally helping you change your mindset and get you in a position to truly be successful if you wanted to be successful in the beauty industry. So make sure you guys check her out. You can go to her website, flavialeal.com, flavialeal.com. That's FLAVIALEAL.com. Make sure you guys check out her beauty schools. If you're interested in this is probably the way to go. Mentorship and finding people who are already successful so that you can walk a path with a guide is the easiest way to do it in this world. So Flavia, thank you very much for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast, but not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz